Welcome to Swing Trading with Cycles channel. It's November 19th. We're going to do our update on our individual silver miners. This is First Majestic, so ticker symbol AG. Let's start with our two-panel chart. So left-hand side is AG itself. Right-hand side is AG versus SIL ratio chart. So we can see on the ratio chart, 2021, at one point, AG was massively outperforming, and this is probably a big function of the silver squeeze. And we'll look at that. That was February 2021. And then we had a big pullback. That's what this upper wick is. And this year, we've managed to stay green, but we also had a pretty big pullback this week. Or excuse me, this year, I should say. Absolute terms, this is your annual chart. On both ends, it's your annual chart. And the last 2 years have been red. And you have this pullback in absolute terms, right? So, which makes sense. At one point, we were going strong, and then we had like these sharp pullbacks each of these years. And if we look at the quarterly chart, you can see we've actually made a higher high on the quarterly chart, absolute terms for First Majestic. So that's helpful. I mean, to be clear, that's a swing low on the quarterly chart. That's positive, right? Now, there are reasons to not be super positive about it, and we'll look at that when we look at the absolute chart. But that's helpful to know. And if we look at that, like the monthly, what's making up that quarterly swing low, you kind of see this structure here. I mean, this is a very so we're making higher highs each month, but I mean, this looks very weak. I mean, certainly kind of looks like a bear flag. This does a bear flag of this move down. So it's like you have this trending move lower, and then this essentially is a consolidation before a rollover. This teal line is your 50-month moving average. Notice we're still below it, and this may actually end up acting as resistance. So not loving the way AG is looking here. Not at all, really. And this is your silver squeeze, your February 2021. That's what's causing that massive upper wick on the annual chart. I mean, that's going to be a tough hole to climb out of ultimately. And if we look at the weekly, it's a very similar situation. I mean, that's the multiple time frame analysis of all this, right? This kind of tepid run on the weekly is what's causing those kind of ugly monthly candles with the, pretty, drastic upper wicks. So this definitely has some work to do, and we're just below the 200-week moving average. So that's the flip side to this, right? That being just below those moving averages may indicate that we're gonna we could either burst through them or it acts as a ceiling of resistance. So like everything else, we're gonna have to kind of watch the reaction and then make our bet based on that at the end of the day. And if we look at the daily chart, so this is kind of an interesting picture. We've had this series of higher lows, right? You can see that pretty clear on the daily chart. There, and we just printed one on Friday, or this is a Thursday higher low, and then Friday we kind of held it. So it is setting us up for near-term upside. You would think that we come back and try to test this $9.80 area. We're down here at $9, so like another 10%, something like that. But we're also pretty late in the daily cycle, right? Like if you consider, so Monday was day 35, right? So that might actually be your daily cycle high, right? But that's good because at this point, we now see how high of a low can we hold? I mean, are we going to be able to keep holding these higher lows here? Like, are we going to be able to hold this? Or are we going to come back and sort of break below that? Like, that could become a stop level. If someone were inclined to play this on the long side, I would not be, personally. But that coincides with this weekly picture where this is actually a bearish outside weekly candle, isn't it? Yes, it is. So right, that's not super healthy. Now that said, it's more of a doji than anything else. So that's not like super strong sort of directionally, but that to say that's certainly not a bullish signal either. So I'd say This is certainly not looking quite as bearish as core mining, CDE, but I would say fourth on the list after the ones that we've reviewed already. So we've reviewed Fortuna Silver Miners, which is Silver Mines, which is the strongest for sure. Hecla would be second. This would be third, a distant third, and a really, really far fourth, last would be core mining, CDE, which is looking the weakest. So that's the rundown of the 4 that we've looked at so far. They're all part of the playlist. So definitely take a look at those. We'll review a couple of others as well. We'll look at Silvercrest. We'll look at Pan American Silver. Yeah, just those 2. And yeah, Silvercrest, Pan American Silver are the other 2 we'll look at. So we'll leave it here for now. Thanks for watching.